the Balls podcast
with Mark Davis, Kriska Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasello, and Nick the Doc Skirkle.
Man, oh man, we are live in the Sack House. That's right, I'm Mark Davis. That is Luke Rule. Alan Tomasello will be joining us very, very shortly, Luke. And like I said, man, we're hours from the draft. And all the madness that happened over the last 3 days, Luke, wrapping up with the 257th pick. Forgot whose name it was. I was working off the show. But Luke, how are you doing, man? The Baltimore Ravens made 11 picks. No trades up. Trades back. How excited are you about your guys' draft class?
Yeah, I mean, Eric Costa shows every year he always able to find hidden gems in the draft. So I mean, first two rounds you have best player available on the board with Starks and Mike Green. So that just kind of sealed the draft up there, and he just followed through. You know, got some good old line depth, got some defensive players, some corners, safety. So I mean, we're looking pretty good. Probably 11 guys don't make the team. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, if they're
11 players in one draft is a lot. So.
Rounds 5 through 7, Luke, they're not starters, so you might as well bench them.
Yeah, that's actually a good quote. You should keep that. Just remember that 5 through 7, not starters.
Unless you're a kicker.
Except our kicker we drafted.
Punters probably too.
Kicker,
kicker.
They don't count. We should just get rid of them anyway. We're trying to get rid of them.
He said, and you're a kicker too. Alan, man, how are you doing, man? The Patriots have pick number 4. You wanted Genty. You did get a running back with Henderson. You got Will Campbell. How are you feeling with the very first Mike Vrabel draft class for the New England Patriots?
Okay, so I have to say that I don't think that there would have been a difference if we had went Genty early and then went with offensive line later. I think that Patriots historically have done a really great job of drafting offensive linemen in the middle rounds. I don't think that would have been an issue. However, I do understand the change in our philosophy. Mike Vrabel is historically a guy who wants to build from the trenches. This was a move, that's going to take us in the direction he wants to go. Obviously, the Patriots have a long way to go, and maybe next year we'll be at pick number 5, and we might not give up the number 1 overall pick in the last week like we did last year too. That might be something that happens.
I liked your guys' draft class. I mean, I like the Campbell pick because, like I said, most of us worked a big component on protecting your quarterback. Henderson, he's a playmaker. He's a guy that can pass protect as well. Kyle Williams, a lot of people like him out of Washington State, and then it just seems like everything else was a Mike Vrabel, hard-nosed fight guys. You have Jared Wilson, this Georgia offensive lineman, that's what they do. Joshua Farmer, big boy out of Florida State, and then you just get guys like that. That's Mike Vrabel's system. That's what it was.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that that's really where we went is along the philosophy of what Mike Vrabel is going to bring to the team, and I'm good with that. I really liked Drake May last year. Not a lot of people, maybe liked him too much, but I really liked what Drake May brought to the table. I'm excited to see where we go from there. Getting Josh McDaniels back, that's going to be a great boon for him. But we needed weapons, but what year have we never not needed weapons in fucking New England? It's always a thing. So, how are we going to stack up with that? I didn't feel like we needed to go Henderson. He's a 2-back running, he was in a 2-back system. I'm not really too impressed with him. Yeah, he's athletic. The thing that I was talking to my brother about is you can be Adrian freaking Peterson when it comes to your athleticism, but if you don't know how to hit the hole right, then you're not gonna be a successful running back in the NFL. So
yeah, we'll see. Atlanta Falcons
might want to go back and watch some of his tape though. Dude averaged 7 yards a carry, so I think you're gonna end up liking him. I don't think he's just a 2-back system. He was a 1-back before.
There's a benefit to it when it comes to running backs. There is a benefit to being, having less hits on you, in your college career. So I'll give you that. And yeah, he was, like you said, he was a 1-back guy before, but it's just I had John.
You'll end up liking him
up there. I had John
you,
up there.
You will end up liking him. He is a stud.
You will.
I didn't notice, but you guys drafted a long snappers too. I missed that during the draft.
Very, very important. Very important position.
Hey, he's another starter, so that's
yeah,
an exception.
I missed that pick as well, Luke. But Atlanta Falcons, man, you know, obviously we talked about during the first round. Actually, the clip came out. We posted right before the show. Falcons got 2 pass rushers. I thought 2 of the top 3 or 4 pass rushers in the draft. Now we gave a first rounder for James Pierce, and we'll see what that turns into this year. You know, and obviously the moment kind of sucks, but if we are good next year, if we are in the late 20s, then you know it's a pick that we're not going to miss. Did like the Xavier Watts pick. I know, Alan, you had him in the first round.
I did.
He was in the end of the 3rd round to us. So I would take Xavier Watts any day. And then we got another safety. Maybe was hoping it would be a corner, but maybe this corner or maybe the safety does play a little bit in the slot as a corner. We'll see what we utilize him out of Oklahoma. And then tackle late, doesn't matter. But no, I like the draft. It was all defense besides the last pick that doesn't probably matter as much in the 7th round. So no, I like what we did. But guys, I was very proud of something that occurred over us, thanks to me and Luke. Also, thanks to Shedeur Sanders falling, not trying to keep Wise down, but we had a TikTok of guys that went viral, 313,000 views on a Thursday. But when I woke up Monday, or I'm sorry, Friday, it was 200,000, and then 313,000. Luke and Alan, man, you know, it sucks, but that's where we're going to start. Is Shedeur Sanders, the talk of the town. The talk of the draft, probably the biggest talk of the whole sports week in general. And if you ask me, he's probably the biggest story of the whole week of all sports. Obviously, he was projected to be a first-round pick, and last year was projected to be a top, like probably 5 pick, and even a couple months ago, top 3 pick. Falls 5th round to the Cleveland Browns. How do we feel about it, boys?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start. I don't think him falling is due to his play on the field. I think it's his character, how he carries himself, the way he rubs certain organizations. I saw a bunch of teams just took him completely off their boards. One being the Giants, a team that was pretty interested in him. The Saints, I guess, they just like show better in their in the team meetings, stuff like that. He's also got the bigger build, 6'5", 220. So I mean. It sucks for him because he's like his name, it's a blessing and a curse for him. He's only played with one head coach, being his dad, his entire career through high school, JUCO, and not JUCO, but at the Jackson State,
HBC, yeah,
and at Colorado. So he's had this, and he's had 5 different offenses while I was in college, like 5 different head coaches or coordinators. So I mean, he showed that maturity and adaptability that Sanders hasn't had to go through. And Sanders never had competition. Well, he's got competition now if he wants a job. So this is the first time he's got to compete for a starting job or compete for a job in general.
Yeah, what I would say is this, and I did not have him as a first round talent. Even though I had him going to the Steelers, I do think that the Steelers needed to pick up a quarterback. And I thought that they were going to go there. They didn't. But at the end of the day, I think that, yes, he has to deal with his name. There is something to say about a kid who grew up with everything that they ever needed in their entire life and still chose to get hit for a living, right? Like they still chose to go down this path to put themselves in this line of fire, as we'll call it, or whatever. But he's chasing his dream, and I think that's something that is really overlooked in this situation, mainly because he does have that name. What I think it was Jake said that Shedeur is the Bronny James of the NFL. Well, he officially fell farther than Bronny James did. And I also think that, he's going to get that undue criticism when it comes to him. But at the same time, he didn't have that same talent level to sit there and go through interviews and dog the interviews in order to, try to get his draft position. He's not an Eli Manning when it comes to talent, right? And so for him to try to, control his position and control where he was going to go, that is obviously going to rub people the wrong way. I don't think that it was necessary for him to fall all the way to fifth. There was guys that got picked up before him.
Yeah.
Obviously, like what was it, Tyler Gabriel, getting picked by the Browns before him. Like I don't think that was necessary. Yes, Mel Kiper had him high on his draft board, but let's not forget that a lot of other draft people had him at a higher ranking. PFF had him up higher. NFL Network had him as a top 20 talent overall in the draft. Like, there was a lot of people that had him high in the draft. So to sit here and say that, oh, he didn't belong in that upper echelon is maybe a little bit, going a little bit too far, but I don't think that he was a first round talent. And even if you brought in, and I'm speaking strictly about the Steelers, even if you brought in Aaron Rodgers, it's a guarantee Aaron Rodgers is going to start over Shedeur Sanders. There's no competition there. So you could have brought him in and, and trained him up. You could have brought him in the third round and you still would have been able to train him up. But I think that he fell to a really good place. The Browns aren't historically a great franchise, and so now he's going to be there in a full-fledged competition. How many quarterbacks do they have? 5?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5. But Watson's probably going to play this year.
Watson's on IR. You got Joe Flacco, who's probably going to be the starter. Kenny Pickett is most guaranteed to be the backup, and then you've got the 2 rookies that are going to be competing for a job. I do think that Shedeur Sanders is going to beat out Tyler Gabriel, but I don't know if Shedeur Sanders gets any playing time this year. But this is a chip on his shoulders now, and he gets to he gets to really utilize that, and we'll see what happens. But
you mentioned third round. They did draft the quarterback in the third round.
Yeah, Tyler Gabriel. So
Dylan Gabriel.
Sorry.
Tyler Show is the Saints guy.
I think. I think Kenny Pickett might be the odd man out of the quarterback room. Obviously, they're going to keep Flacco, most experienced guy. Even if he doesn't end up being the day one starter, still want that vet quarterback to help the young guys out. And I think he'd be that guy willingly. I think Flacco knows where he's at in his career. He said he's just going to collect paychecks as long as the team's going to pay him. So
yeah.
Well, and Joe Flacco won comeback player of the year a couple of years ago with the Browns. He does very well.
He knows the offense.
He knows the fancy, yeah.
He could walk in day one. I mean, he walked in on a week's notice and played a game.
Yeah.
When it comes to Shedeur Sanders falling, and I agree, I don't believe he should have fell to the 5th round. There's probably all the stuff, whatever the politics behind everything, behind the scenes, his last name, maybe how he interviewed, whatnot. Maybe they're trying to teach him a lesson. I understand why people are believing in that, but I'm also not a believer in this NFL quarterback class. Outside Cam Ward, I'm not a fan of any of the quarterbacks. That goes to Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, Quinn Ewers, Tyler Show himself, Jackson Dart.
You stop listening to Quinn Ewers.
I'm just saying, like, guys that were supposed to be high, like last year, coming into this year.
Stop talking about that guy.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers was not supposed to be high. He was not.
Yes, he was. If you looked at him last year, he was a first-round quarterback in all the mocks. Okay. But that's my thing, is I'm not a fan of any of the quarterbacks. The only one I'm a fan of is Cam Ward. I think Shedeur Sanders could have probably been in the first round because, like the Steelers, like you said, I thought if he would have got to 21, Pittsburgh would have drafted him instantly. I thought a guy like Mike Tomlin would have been perfect for Shedeur Sanders. I think Mike Tomlin's perfect for any kind of quarterback. That's just who he is. He's a player's coach, but it's politics in the room, and that's what happened. And, it sucks, but I do believe Shedeur Sanders has a good shot of starting week 1 for the Cleveland Browns. I think he can beat Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel out. Now, he's got, like you said, he's going to have to earn it. He's going to have to go in there with competition. He's going to have to show out in training camp. He's going to have to show out in preseason. And he's going to have to make a name for himself in the NFL locker room. And I think he can do it because I also don't believe in the quarterbacks in Cleveland.
Yeah, so, I agree with you. I do agree. More so with Luke that it's going to be a competitive situation. I don't agree he's going to be the starter. I think Joe Flacco is definitely in there to be the starter.
I'm saying he can start. I haven't made my decision on that yet. I'm saying the quarterback class in Cleveland is not the best. So if you told me today Shedeur Sanders is going to start week 1, I wouldn't call you a clown or like a fool. But if you tell me Joe Flacco is going to start, I'd say, okay, well, that also makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, another thing about this entire situation that I think is being not overshadowed because it's definitely in the forefront. A lot of people are talking about it, but maybe because Cam Ward was such a lock for that number one spot, not a lot of people are talking about him. Also, the coverage that he got during, the draft was just like completely disrespectful to him. I think, to not even get a freaking on stage interview after his pick, all of these other things that are happening to him. Like, I feel like Cam Ward definitely is going to be a good quarterback, I think, for Tennessee.
And by the way, I liked what Tennessee did as well. Like, I thought Tennessee's class was amazing. Like, with what they did, the star power, like not star power, but offensive, playmaker wise, they're setting up Cam Ward hopefully for success.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, a lot of older wide receivers go to Tennessee to, collect that paycheck. We've seen it.
They drafted a couple wide receivers too.
They did. And I think that Cam Ward is in a really good position. So when we compare, all right, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, I think that, Cam Ward deserves a little bit more spotlight in this situation. And Sanders is getting a little bit too much publicity because of, the situation and how it played out.
Yeah, the Sanders family brings it on themselves. They live streamed pretty much their entire weekend at the house.
Yeah, they did.
So they bring it on themselves. From what I've seen, Cam Ward seems like he's like super humble about it. He's not being flashy. He's like.
I mean, did you see what he was wearing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Nothing like crazy. Small chain, nice suit. So I mean,
everything that I've seen about Cam Ward has been a positive image to me.
And people were ripping Cam Ward too, Alan. They said, "Oh, it doesn't look like he cares during the games. He plays lazy. Like
he does. It looks like he plays lazy. It's
looks
weird.
like it, but
it's very weird to watch. Like if you sit there and watch him play, he'll just stand flat-footed in the pocket, but he'll just throw a dime flat-footed.
Yeah,
Oh,
in the pocket.
and that's
like,
the
so
thing.
weird.
Is like,
and he like runs like it looks like he runs super slow when he's like scrambling. Looks like he's just like, walking.
It's almost like a talent thing though. Like he's got that type of talent where he can just do that, and he can, like you said, still stand in that pocket and deliver a dime off of it. So I think that the Tennessee Titans have to do a good job of getting the best qualities out of him. And in the NFL, you're gonna get better coaching. You're gonna get more individualized development, and then I think it's gonna be good for him. I like what Tennessee did this year too. But
Titans also drafted the one receiver that gave Travis Hunter the most problems, and that was last year, the Stanford receiver. So, and he was very like rated like pretty good, high, like second, maybe early third round talent. But man, he fell, and they drafted the receiver from Florida.
Yeah.
And they drafted tight end out of Texas. They drafted a running back late. Like I like the Steelers. I like the two defensive players. I think the Tennessee Titans had one of the better draft classes. And I'm not saying they're by any means they're going to win the AFC South next year. They're going to be in the playoffs as a wild card team.
Right.
But I like the trajectory that they're starting at right now.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is
Tennessee needed it. They needed a good
They
draft.
did need that good draft.
Because it's a running joke around the Nashville area. The Sad Factory, the Nissan Stadium. It's the nickname is the Sad Factory because you just go there to be sad and watch the Titans lose every week.
Jeez.
Yeah, well,
so we're building a brand new Sad Factory next to the old Sad Factory currently.
Hopefully that's a good factory when they.
Yeah.
I love the Warren Moon endorsement. Warren Moon came out, gave him his number, told him that he's really excited for what he can do. So I'm excited for that.
Lawrence Taylor told Abdul Carter.
But that's
he said fuck off.
He said fuck off. But
he said earn your own number. That's what he said.
The thing is that AFC South is always a division that's kind of up for grabs, and the Texans, when they're supposed to be good, they come out and they do what they did last year. These
other teams are closing in on them now.
Well, Houston's draft, by the way, too, like drafted both Iowa State wide receivers. You did get Irsay out of Minnesota. He was one of the better offensive tackles. So the Minnesota or the Houston Texans is giving me the Cincinnati Bengals vibes. They're gonna have talent all over the field. Good defense right now, really good defense. One of the better defenses actually. Very talented quarterback, but he's gonna get hit almost every other play. He's gonna be getting smacked around.
Yeah, well, you saw what he did last year when he was still getting hit. Like he didn't do amazing, but but he was still a good quarterback comparative to the rest of obviously that division. And yeah, they need to protect him more. But I think that they picked up a running back too, did they not? The Texans
They
for a
did.
good one.
They did. It
1-2
was
punch.
it was a
Woody
fourth.
Marks.
Yeah, fourth rounder from USC. They actually went back to back USC there, but Woody Marks on ESPN ranked number 16, Mississippi State transfer. He's 5'10", 207. So we're going to see what they have Joe Mixon. So maybe this takes a little pressure off Joe because the backup running backs in Houston haven't been impressive in my opinion. So maybe this gives that Joe Mixon getting up there a little in age. So maybe that helps him out. Save Joe Mixon, who had injury problems last year.
Yeah, I think the Texans did pretty much the opposite what they needed to do in this draft. They needed to invest like heavily in the O-line, D-line, and that's just where they missed the mark. But they drafted one tackle and one defensive tackle, and that was it.
I'm good with one receiver because
I'm saying they should have went heavy O-line and D-line.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, I get
that was their
part.
issue last year. Like,
well, the D-line was
their issue is the offensive line, and they got rid of the rest of their O-linemen. I know they picked up a couple in free agency.
They brought Cam Robinson. Yeah, they brought Cam Robinson in.
Yeah, but
they got rid of hitters.
Keon Green went to the Eagles.
So you come out of the draft with one offensive lineman, and what round was he? The second round. So I mean, late second rounder.
And the problem is too, he comes in an offense that is a running offense in Minnesota. It's not a big pass heavy. The balance of passing and running in the Golden Gophers isn't favoring the passing; it's favoring the running. So yeah, he's going to get like when Joe Mixon's rushing, and maybe this kid Woody Marks is rushing. Okay, maybe that side's going to be good, but what's he going to do in the passing department? Luke, I agree with you. I'm okay with Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel if you want to get receiver because you do have Tank Dell, but you got Christian Kirk you traded for, and of course Nico Collins. So it's like
but I think it was Higgins that is the they compared him to Nico Collins. Yep. So having two of those guys on the outside and allowing Tank Dell to run that inside slot position, I think that's going to be a positive for the team too.
Yeah, I'm a Jaden Higgins fan too.
CJ Stroud's not going to have time to throw the football. That's the only issue. He's like, hey, one step back and fucking let it go.
Got to figure out that slant, man. You got to figure out the slant.
He didn't figure it out last year because he took a huge step back last season. He got lucky his division's so bad that he still made the playoffs.
Big Jaden Higgins fan. I thought he did good at Iowa State. Once again, team that's not the best known for firepower with the quarterback. I know they had Mark Purdy, but like obviously that's probably the biggest quarterback of all time, to be honest.
Yeah, but one thing that I really loved out of this draft was the Giants. I thought that the Giants did amazing things. I really like the Giants draft class. Going out and getting, their defensive line is really set up to what they were when they won the championship, which they can get pressure with four guys. Having Thibodeau back, they just re-signed him. They drafted the two edge guys. Like, I really like what the Giants did. And then going and trading back up, I don't know if Dart is that, is going to be a perennial starter. He's going to be that guy. But what I do know is that Brian Daboll loves this guy. And I know that Brian Daboll is the guy that brought Josh Allen out of whatever that beginning phase of his career was. And I think that he may not be Josh Allen, but he does have good mechanics that are similar to Josh Allen. And I think that Jackson Dart has the ability to start early. I think that Jameis Winston is a trade target. I think Jameis Winston is going to get traded early on in the season to whoever needs a backup, whoever needs a starting quarterback. I still think that teams are gonna want to get somebody. Russell Wilson is not getting traded.
He's the 1 year, and that's why I asked earlier.
Daboll's already said Russell Wilson's a starter.
But how short is the leash though? How short is the leash?
I think it's pretty short because I think Daboll knows his job is not safe at the end of the season. It's not.
Yeah, he's got to win.
The GM, his job is not safe either. So I mean, they start 0-3, 0-4, or something like that, or 1-4.
It's Jackson Dart time.
You expect a change coming in if it's Jackson Dart or Jameis coming in.
I don't think that change is going to be Jameis Winston. I think that change is going to immediately be Jackson Dart.
But it's good for Dart that he doesn't have to worry about being the week one starter. Like, he's got time. He can sit there and watch Russ. I mean, be fucking weird, but learn how to be professional for a little bit. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like the guys he's learning from, just because Russ is weird and James is Jameis. I mean, James is a great guy. I'm sure he's going to do everything he can to get him ready, but
they have great IQ though.
Not yeah. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's the quarterback I'd want my future quarterback learning from.
Yeah, but Dayball is that guy.
They're both weirdos.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Dayball is the guy though for me.
But I think it comes it comes differently from a player, like your own teammate.
Agreed. Picking up like
Dart was sitting behind Rodgers. That's much different than him sitting behind Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson.
Well, I actually would disagree with that. I don't think Rodgers is the greatest like person to say in that, because I don't think Rodgers is a guy who's going to go out of his way to teach somebody else.
Well, you don't have to go out of your way.
No, he actually.
Sit there and,
it's been documented.
Jordan Love.
Yeah, he's documented. Jordan Love has said it. Aaron Rodgers took time and actually, obviously, he's not working out with them on the summer and like springtime during spring break, but like during the season, he was all aboard on teaching him, because what he said was he had opposite reaction with Brett Favre, so he wanted to.
Brett Favre didn't teach him shit.
He wasn't mad that Jordan Love is the backup. He was mad because he wanted more help. So, but he's not going to punish Jordan.
And they didn't tell him.
Yeah, well, but I agree, Alan. Let's get back to the Giants. I do agree with you. This team won a good 1-2 punch too. Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatabo. That is going to be a good 1-2 punch, because don't stop forget Tyrone Tracy was a very good running back. Didn't start right away neither. You get Darius Alexander. He was high on a lot of people's boards. Was supposed to be a top 2. Abdul Carter. I mean, this is the team. Now, I've said for all along. I've said it since last year. They have the pieces. Can the quarterback play be the difference? I'm not a big Jackson Dart fan. Now, can he prove me wrong? Maybe. Can Russell Wilson do good this year? Maybe. But that's what it comes down to for the New York Giants is quarterback play.
I think the problem
they're going to have to lean on their defense this year. The defense is loaded.
They have a good defense, and that's what I was saying earlier about them going and getting the edge pieces that they got. It really is, and then obviously re-signing Thibodeau, their defensive tackle that they got. I feel like they've got a defense that can leave it up to those 4 guys to get pressure.
The quarterback doesn't have to do everything too. Like with like adding Scatterbo to that backfield. Mark knows that dude's a dog. Mark watch him fucking beat this shit out of Texas.
Yeah, second half he was dragging us through the mud a little bit. He's a beast. Talking that like
that dude like he's not like he's big. He's like stocky, but the way he can stay on his feet is like unlike any other running back I've seen.
And the defense,
his balance is crazy.
It's very his balance and his power remind me of Jamal Lewis.
And besides,
I've seen him compared to Marshawn Lynch a lot.
Okay,
that's the one I've seen.
Besides,
he's like a bowling ball, just bouncing off players.
Yeah.
And besides the Eagles, the Commanders and the Cowboys defenses aren't the best at the moment, at least from last year, maybe on paper this year. So, okay, those are 4 games out of the 17 that that this offense can maybe pick apart. Now they would have to obviously stop them from scoring. I think Dallas is going to be a little. I like Dallas's draft too. I thought the NFC East minus the Commanders had a good draft. If you ask me, the Commanders didn't really have many picks, and it just seemed like they were just kind of boring picks. The Eagles, I thought, made good picks. I thought the Cowboys, I thought they were a really good draft. I mean, I really did.
I was worried about the Cowboys early because I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I worried about them early, but
Booker's not a bad pick. After it all came through, you had a Zuruka from Boston College.
Yeah, he's a good pick. He was a possible first rounder.
I mean, when you look at what they lost this year, they lost Tyron Smith, they lost Zach Martin. He just retired. So like it's a big deal for them to reintegrate that offensive line and get some good guys to replenish that.
And Revel Jr. was supposed to be a first rounder. Now he had injury problems at ECU, but he is really good. So now you're putting him with Diggs and Bland.
They just got bigger. It's pretty much what Dallas did. Like they went like what Houston should have did. They O-line, D-line. That's what you build your teams around.
And Shamar James is good too out of the Gators. I understand he's a 5th rounder. Don't let that fool you. I thought he's middle undersized, but he is a good linebacker. He was very good with the Gators.
They got your blue.
He's a third down. He's a third down starter. Third down back starter.
Who's their current They picked up one.
Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. So like Jadon Blue, I mean, if he has a decent camp and a decent preseason,
they got the running back out of Clemson too in this draft.
Oh, they did, didn't they? Yeah,
Maffa.
Phil Maffa.
Yeah. So I mean, they got some guys. Some of these, I think the running backs are like still a weak point. Blue is good parts of the season for Texas, but I don't think he's like the guy. Like he's like third, like you said, third down back,
scat back.
Yeah, pass catcher. I think he had great flashes at Texas though.
That's our running. I mean, our running backs in general, man. They have good flashes.
Didn't you guys have another running back this year? That's really good?
Wisner, but he stayed behind.
Yeah, Wisner was a dog.
Because remember we lost Baxter. See, Baxter was supposed to be the guy, and he got hurt during summer.
Baxter coming back?
Yeah, he's back to number one. It's gonna be him in the Wisner show. But hey, I'm gonna say this:
the Arch Manning show. That's what.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about like for running. I want to say this now. I want to be on record on April 26th. I believe the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be third place in the AFC West. With the Denver Broncos and what the Los Angeles Chargers have done this draft, what they've done in the offseason, what they showed me last year, and what the Chiefs did this year, yes, they had some good picks. I'm not sold on everything they have. I'm not saying the Chiefs won't be a wild card team, but if you're asking me right now, before we do any predictions, which we will do in August, I believe that they will be in third place. I love what the Broncos did, and I love what the Los Angeles Chargers did.
Wait till you see that schedule come out in KC's favor.
That's why I said this is all April 26th.
That's wait till you see the schedule come out.
Well, I'm saying as of April 26th. Now, this is maybe living a little bit high in the moment, but I'm on record. Denver is winning the division.
Yeah.
Now the Chiefs might be second place. The Denver Broncos are winning the division.
Denver had a.
I'm telling you, the Denver Broncos were in the division. I like everything they did. Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, Barron. They got
my boy.
Yeah,
RJ Harvey.
Bo Nix another year in the system. This is going to be a top 2 defense in the NFL, and you're adding another year experience with Bo Nix under Sean Payton. I mean, I like what Sean Payton's doing. I take that back. What I said last year about Sean Payton.
Yeah, I like the Broncos. I take back the shit what I said about Sean Payton too.
Me too.
I said he was a Drew Brees merchant, but
no.
He's building the Saints 2.0 over here in Denver.
I've always believed that Sean Payton was a very good coach, mainly because he is like the true in and out, like fucking X and O guy. Like he can really diagnose a team, and he can really put together a team.
He's also like a no bullshit guy.
He is 1,000% a no bullshit guy. He's not going to put up with any of it. So,
and he got rid of Russ after 1 year.
And one of my buddies who's he's a Big Ten guy. He loves Big Ten. He said Pat Bryant, wide receiver at Illinois, is a dog. So now you got him with Court Sutton. You got Vele. By the way, very underrated. By the way, he was like a 6th or 7th rounder. He's starting in the NFL. He was pretty good at times for them. I know they have Sutton and they have Evan Ingram. Like it's not like the Broncos don't have shit. They have the pieces now. It's just it's with Bo Nix if he comes back or not. I don't believe Bo Nix come back. He's not Paxton fucking Lynch, Allen. What you said last year. This is Bo fucking Nix.
I was about to say that. I still do not believe in Bo Nix.
I do.
So I'm not really sure he's gonna come back to be that point. And when you say that the Chiefs are gonna be third in the division, I just look at the talent and I just say Patrick Mahomes is worth every fucking dollar that he is. I fucking hate the guy. I hate the guy. I hate the conversation.
Look at the talent around him, though. The talent around Mahomes is not good.
I'm not disagreeing with you, man. Like
how many guys can actually uplift those players though?
That's why I said
that every year.
Worst case, I'm not as of right now, like I said, third place. Maybe I'll reel it back when we're gonna do season predictions like in late August, early September. But I am on the record. I will say, unless Bo Nix gets hurt in preseason, the Denver Broncos are winning the division. Chiefs can be second place. I'm giving Denver the division.
I think that the Chargers are actually more primed to make that jump. I think Chargers were competitive last year.
Dude, that draft was nasty too.
And Harbaugh is an amazing coach. I think that last year Herbert took amazing strides, but they have to open him up a little bit more. I think that they were a little bit too conservative with him.
Well, they
They gotta
drafted a
get him-
receiver. Yeah, they drafted
Oh, yeah.
Trey Harris too. So
Trey Harris, yeah, he's good. So I mean, they got 2 good wide receivers now. Did they
and
sign anybody in that?
Johnston was not terrible last year neither. Johnston,
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
He
terrible.
had his flashes. He still had a bunch of drops.
better than his rookie. Hey, way better
Yeah,
than his rookie.
Better than his
season.
rookie year.
than his
But he
rookie
still he had like good. He had a couple good games and a couple bad games. Like there's one game last season he had like 3 or 4 drops in one game.
But you drafted
I mean-
Omarion Hampton, Trey Harris. You drafted the
I
receiver out of
really
Auburn.
like Hampton. I really like Hampton.
I mean-
and that's a guy that I think that the Patriots, if we weren't going to take Johnson, like I feel like we should have just traded out of that position to try to get Hampton and then multiple tackles or offensive linemen later, in those mid rounds. Because again, I really feel like the Patriots have done a historically great job at drafting offensive linemen in the middle rounds and making starters, very good starters out of those draft picks. And so drafting Will Campbell where we did, I just don't know if that was necessarily the best position for us, but I understand the philosophy. But going back to the Chargers, I feel like Hampton was an amazing pick. I really like what they did. I think that the Chargers are primed to actually win that division.
The only thing with the Chargers that throws me off a little bit is their defense. What is the defense going to look like? Because their defense, yeah, they were good last year, but they lost pieces and they didn't really gain much. Now, the draft, yeah, they did draft Kyle Kennard. They drafted a defense tackle out of Caldwell. Out of Oregon, Caldwell. I thought the R.J. Mickens safety out of Clemson, 6th-rounder, that's great value. He was supposed to be a top 4 round player. And Clemson, we know they're good at defense. So that's a Jim Harbaugh style pick there. And I like what the defensive players they brought in. But it's the fact is, can they stop other offenses? Now, they have the firepower on offense, but when it comes to the fourth quarter and you got the Chiefs who have a pretty fairly average defense, and you have the Broncos who are probably going to have a top 2 defense, can you pony up with them and stop them and muscle up?
Yeah, well, it gets up. You put it on Herbert's shoulders. Like it's the big games. He crumbles.
And that's the things I've always said. I'm not a big fan of
Herbert.
I love Herbert, but I don't think he is clutch at the moment. He's not shown me many clutch moments.
Yeah, he's a regular season guy.
Well, when you look at it, last year what he threw 3 interceptions during the regular season,
And then what, through 4?
and then
5
threw 4 in the playoffs. In the one playoff game that he threw 4 interceptions. So yeah, he's got to outlive that. It's almost this I won't say the same, but it's similar to like a Lamar Jackson when it comes to having to downplay his ability to play during the playoffs compared to his regular season. But Herbert really is even accentuated at a higher mark than that. Herbert has to really beat those allegations because Lamar Jackson has had games where he's come out in the playoffs and just spanked the other team, played amazing, done really great things. So I think he's kind of lessened that a little bit, but Herbert definitely has to be the guy. That's the biggest thing for him right now is getting to the playoffs and actually showing up in the playoffs.
Yeah, Lamar's last 2 playoff losses are not on him.
So
Should have put it on that one.
but let's talk.
Not say he wasn't the reason we won either though.
Let's reel back to the draft, though, guys. Anything else out there? I know Chris said Saints. He liked the Saints draft class. I don't.
Let me see.
We
see what
we
they
can
have
talk
again.
quarterback class in general. Like, what do we think about these quarterbacks?
Well,
But
listen, what I would say is I think that maybe we should go with our top 3 drafts, like our top 3 teams that drafted. I've pulled up 5 different websites and across the board, I'm seeing basically Giants are in the top, Patriots are in the top, and then it's a little bit of a mix there. After that, I'm seeing Arizona had a good draft from a lot of these different websites.
Arizona's problem is now. I love the Walter Nolan pick for them. He's going to learn behind Calais Campbell or with Calais Campbell. Walter Nolan's going to play. Will Johnson, if he's healthy, that's a fucking steal. Now, and I like Denzel Burke out of Ohio State. He's another corner. So you have there Jordan Birch, very long, very athletic pass rusher out of Oregon. So, and Connor guard out of Texas, but that's the only guard they signed for offense or drafted. Cardinals, I mean, like I said, if Will Johnson stays healthy and Denzel Burke can live to what he should have been, not a 5th-round type player, Arizona on defense, they're building something out there in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arizona's they're a tough team to get behind at this point. it's just tough to be on their side because like every year you get like a little glimmer of hope from them. They're like, yeah, no.
Yeah. I mean,
Carolina's-
another team that did really good this draft, and it's just kind of a thing that happens every single year, is the fucking Baltimore Ravens, man. Like, how the fuck do they always seem to just get a guy to fall to them? Like, I understand Mike Green might have his issues or whatever. You know, they picked up a lot of guys, but getting Malachi Starks to fall to them, that was a fucking steal. Mike Green, they've just got pieces that are going to help out that defense. I don't think that they need the offensive. This is not like the last 3-4 years where it's been, oh, they need to draft offensive weapons because Lamar needs more weapons. I don't think that's where they're at now. I think that right now where they're positioned, they just got to shore up that defense. And I think that they're going to be primed for another great year in the AFC North.
The Baltimore Ravens' first 3 picks, Allen, man, Mike said Malachi Starks, Mike Green, Emory Jones, man, he was a dog at LSU. Like, that's what you needed. You needed interior offensive line help for Lamar, for Derrick Henry. Give Lamar time to throw. Give Derrick Henry a little hole to get. Well, Derrick Henry doesn't need that much, but I have a guy that can do that for him. The Ravens, like you said, they just picked BPA, best player available, and I believe it's going to be the Baltimore Buffalo. Who's that third team that's going to shoot up with them? I think it's the Baltimore Buffalo show out here in the AFC right this year.
I agree with that because I do think that Buffalo also had a really good draft this year. I think that they've done good things.
Buffalo's draft, man.
Offseason.
I like Buffalo's draft. When I sat back and during the prep, I was like, man, like they addressed the defensive line. They drafted 3 straight picks of D-line, and then their 1st and 5th pick was corner. So it's like, I get it. Didn't get Josh Allen, and he really helped besides the tight end and receiver late.
No. Josh Allen's going to have to do it himself again. That's his only thing.
We saw him do it last year. We saw him do it every single year, man.
Can Keon Coleman show up? Yeah. Khalil Shakir is going to be good. He'll be fine. And then can the tight ends be involved?
Yeah, Keon was kind of hit or miss last season. Like, he hasn't proven to be that top tier wide receiver that he was projected to be.
But I think that this does.
I want to be because I have him in fucking Dynasty. So,
but I do think that this means that they have to make a deal for their running back. I do think that they've got to get him signed because that is.
I think he will. I think it's going to happen. It's just they're both playing their little. It's just the way they both have their stance, and it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Before the season starts, they're going to be signed, and it's going to be good to go.
I loved I think it was Brandon Beane or Sean McDermott. One of them said James Cook is in here. He's like, it's voluntary, isn't it? Like they say the right things now. Obviously, because it goes back to Stephon Diggs and they had that problem. But no, like you said, I think the Bills, the Ravens, shit. I understand the Panthers went receiver, and I don't think that's actually a bad play after all. But the Panthers, dude, man, that draft class was something. Pass rushers of Princely, Nick Scorton, and then you get Baby Etienne, you get a safety at Ohio State, Ransom. Like they're. I'm not saying the Panthers are going to win the division next year. I think it's going to come out of Tampa and Atlanta. But Carolina, they don't sleep on them to be competitive, at least. I'll tell you that. Because Bryce Young played good at the end of the season. Second half of the season, he played a lot better when he got benched and came back.
Yeah.
Bryce Young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of him, but I'm saying when he came back, when Andy Dalton stopped starting, he looked way better.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. I think that he did do a lot better when he came back. I think they saw some flashes from him that really show that he could be that guy moving forward. But can you capitalize on that? Can you really bring that forward? They got him the weapons. And they got a defense that can get. They drafted people on the defense. Nick Skirton. Princely Uman-Malin from
he's a beast.
I think that they've got guys who can really get teams off of the field. That was their biggest issue last year with the Panthers was third down, getting teams off the field on third down. That was one of their biggest issues. And I think that shoring up those edge rushers allows them to really put that pressure on the other team and get them off the field when it comes to that third down press. But you've got to keep them in those third down longs. But I love the Tet McMillan pickup, especially with Xavier Legette on the other side.
Best
He's
voice in the game.
He's got to show up. But yeah, I really like what they did. And I think that I think that they can really, AFC South is an NFC South, I'm sorry, is another one of those divisions where I feel like Tampa Bay is really that top tier. I think that Falcons did some really good moves during this draft, but I do feel like it's a little bit up for grabs if the Panthers can really pull something out.
What were you gonna say, Luke, about your classes? Or
I don't know about what.
Oh, I thought you had a class.
No. I mean, we just kind of slid past Baltimore a little bit, but without me getting to say anything, but which is cool.
You did the intro. You did the intro.
You did the intro. They just slid past it and they kept moving along. No, but I think what Baltimore did on defense, like we really fixed our biggest issue was the secondary. So getting rid of Marcus Williams, the fucking expensive veteran that was terrible for us that we got from the Saints. Let him go. Bringing back Darius Washington, our safety. That's really when our defense changed last season when we put benched Marcus Williams, put Darius back there. So we brought him back and added Malachi Starks. So now Kyle Hamilton can do what he does best, is being that chess piece on the defense. And we can use Malachi Starks the similar way as Kyle Hamilton. So, I mean, it frees one of those two guys up to be either on the line of scrimmage, be in a linebacker position, be out wide.
Man,
the safeties can do it all. Then adding Mike Green, a premier pass rusher, which is something the Ravens haven't had in years, probably since Suggs. Is the last time we had a consistent premier pass rusher. So, I mean, it's about time. Like, we've gotten lucky hitting on these, like the old vets, like each year coming in and out, like Kyle Van Noy last year. I'm pretty sure he'll be back again this year, so he can teach Mike Green. Maybe make sure he doesn't fuck up off the field or anything. Make sure he's. I mean, if he's good, he doesn't fuck up off the field, and it's a steal in the second round.
His class really confused me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. I liked what they did late.
No,
it was weird up front.
I liked the Benjamin Morrison pick. Dude's a stud. And his player comp is Carlton Davis, former Buck, obviously now with the New England Patriots, I believe, right out. Yeah, New England Patriots. You get Igbokwe, and I understand, Godwin's injury history. Mike Evans getting up there in age. He misses a couple games here and there. But then you also draft Tez Johnson, and I understand it's 7th rounder, but Tez Johnson's going to go out there and compete. He's going to try to. So it's like you go 2 receivers, you go 2 edges late. You needed edge early, not late.
I think everybody had them taking an edge rusher or a linebacker in the first round.
Yeah, I get it.
Luka is a very, very interesting pick. I get it, like good wide receiver, but like why do that when your biggest needs defense? You're already loaded in the wide receiver room. Like McMillan proved that last year he was a solid number 3 wide receiver, could be a number 2 wide receiver once Godwin went down. Like, dude's balling. Great because I have a dynasty.
Is there a trade brewing because of this?
No.
Well, they just signed Godwin.
I know they just signed Godwin, but maybe we heard trade rumors last year about Mike Evans.
They got Godwin cheap.
Yeah, they did, but is this that move where they trade Mike Evans?
No, I say Mike Evans.
I don't know.
I think Tampa Bay is too loyal to Mike Evans now. Mike Evans has been the face of the franchise for years.
He is, now. Yeah.
He's been the face.
He's the leader. He's the locker room leader.
To go out and do this, now you have 4 wide receivers. I understand the hesitancy.
And 5 wide receivers,
or at least drafting.
Well, I think Tez is gonna be a special teams guy.
Don't sleep on Tez, man.
I'm not counting Tez. I'm not counting.
I think he'd be a special teamer at the beginning of his career.
Say don't sleep on him.
5 to 7, I'm not counting you as a starter. I'm not counting you as a great guy. Okay. All right. I don't care. 5 to 7. I'm not, unless you're a kicker, a punter, or a fucking long snapper. I'm not counting you. Okay. It doesn't matter. You're 5 to 7. You're not projected to be a starter. Obviously, with the Tampa Bay Bucks, you have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and McMillan from last year, and you just drafted with the 1st round draft pick Igbokwe. That to me sounds like you have to be moving off of somebody. Somebody has to be going. Somebody has to be going. If you're drafting that 1st round draft pick like that, it just It doesn't make any sense. You have to shore up some of those other pieces. Your defense needs additional help. Maybe they move off of one of those guys for the defense. You can't be Chris Godwin because
they
you
just-
just signed him.
They just
I
run full wide receiver systems, man.
They
Come
just
on,
re-signed
man. Not
Evans
with
last
Taylor.
year, too.
I mean, hey, maybe they're just expecting shootouts with the Falcons, and then other teams are going to play.
I'm drafting Baker 1-1 redraft.
Like
Baker's about a fucking
fantasy
ball.
Redraft one for one.
Baker
Baker Mayfield should be top 2 fucking drafted quarterback.
He might need to be QB1, QB2. I'm just, but like I agree. Like it's a win for the offense. It's just, and Benjamin Morrison is good, so like, I'm not mad about that. It's just you get pass rush late. I get it. You got Hassan Reddick, but it's a 1-year deal. I mean, I just think it's a win for your offense. It's an L for your defense, and I'm okay with that because hey, if the Bucs want to play a shootout, I'm all for it because the defense for the Falcons they're building, and then the offense is the offense. We'll see what Penix can do. So I'm all for the Bucs not having a defense. I just think it was not the right move, and I remember draft night.
Be careful. They got Big Dez now, undrafted free agent,
and
he's
Shiloh.
just stuff. He's just and Shiloh Sanders. So they about to fucking Shiloh's about to get fucking. He's gonna get a couple of 3-game suspensions. Send him out there, take some cheap
late
shots.
hit. Yeah, late hit guy.
Let Shiloh take some cheap shots. Knock Penix out of the game.
I'd be pissed if he did that.
Then he'll get suspended for a little bit.
Another draft that confused me was the Chicago Bears. I did not like what they did. I understand. So the Loveland pick, I'm not as mad about it now because when we were kind of getting ripped a little bit on TikTok for the doc video that I posted today or yesterday, whichever day it was. I think it was today, whatever day. Anyways, Ben Johnson, I think was the second most play caller to use 2 tight end systems. So that fits the style he runs. And that's fine, and I do like Colston Loveland. But if you want to settle for tight end there, you want to get one of the top 2 between him and Warren, so be it. But then you go get Luther Burden. I'm not a fan of Luther Burden. And if you are going to get receiver, you have DJ Moore and Roman Dudze. They could have had so many other options for wide receiver there. And then you get a tackle. Apparently, we don't know shit. Ozzy's supposed to be the best tackle in the college, by the way. That's what someone said. I was like, that's crazy because no one had that.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not late in the second round. You're not going to get the best offensive tackle. Usually those guys go off the board pretty early.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Will Cable or like just for example, Will Cable, whoever the first tackle is the best, but like normally your best tackle in most cases is usually in the first round somewhere or early second.
Yeah.
You're not waiting until the late second.
Strictly talking about the tight ends, I've been a big advocate. You guys have harped on me. You guys have jumped all over my shit. I've been saying this for a while now. That 2 tight end set is a very big deal, and it helps out young quarterbacks. A guy like Caleb Williams having 2. The other problem that they have in Chicago is that Cole Kmet is not a blocking tight end. So now with Loveland, he's a little bit more polished with the running schemes. He's a little bit more polished in the blocking sets. I do think that adds value, and you're going to be able to have a lot more variety when it comes to that offense. And maybe with them, having so many issues last year with getting the ball out, Caleb Williams holding the ball, this is something that's going to be able to make defenses question what is happening at that offensive line. You run those two tight end sets. Are they running the ball? Are they passing the ball? When they pass that ball, are they going left? Are they going right? Are they doing tight end screens? Are they going downfield? There is a lot of options that come with that. And I do think that we should trust in Ben Johnson. That is a big deal. The rest of their draft, I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, the Luther Burden pick should have been running back. I mean, or at least a second. I get it. You trade it back down. If you wanted to go offensive tackle, I don't think the Burden pick was the right one. You invested in Roman Dunes at number 9. You have DJ Moore, who you paid. I just don't like it. You could have got receiver in the 3rd round, or you have 3 second-rounders. You have 3 second-rounders. Shamar Turner's not bad, but I just don't like it, man. They had so many running backs available. Caleb Johnson was there. I know
they had studs all the way up until the 6th round, and that's when they ended up being gone. It was probably
but
midway through the 6th, and they didn't take one till the 7th.
They also needed they also needed help at cornerback and DB, and they didn't draft that until the 5th round. You're like,
Zaw
what are you
Frazier. I had hopes, and this is why I was not drinking the Kool-Aid yet for the Bears, because it's dumb shit like this. And I love Ben Johnson. I'm a Ben Johnson advocate. I said I was excited for him to go to wherever he's going to go, and I think he can elevate Caleb. But this draft class, outside Colston Loveland and maybe Shamar Turner, and maybe even Ozzie, maybe Ozzie will be good. I just don't like the draft. I don't like the way that they maneuvered to get those positions. I believe it should have happened earlier, and then you dress certain ones later. Just not a fan of it at all. I know that's Doc's team, but
can we talk how bad the Cincinnati Bengals draft was?
Oh, Luke's always good for that. Yeah,
I could have told you that.
Let's fucking go, because
you talk about the dumbest team in the NFL.
Listen, Joe Burrow, fucking
he's gonna die.
Higgins, fucking Jamar Chase. Like, I love that fucking offense. I love Joe Burrow. I'm a big Joe Burrow guy. You guys know that. However,
I fucking hate
what is the offensive line? What are you doing? Defensive line, what are you doing? What have you done on the defense at all? Like, I have no. Yeah, you drafted a couple of guys on defense, linebackers, edge, but you shit the bed so bad on this draft. What are you doing? You have to draft. That is your thing. If you're the Bengals, you're the team that doesn't sign people. You let them walk and you just refill positions off draft, right? That's the thing the Bengals have done. But they fucking suck at it too.
Well, to be honest, I'm okay with the pass rush position at one, maybe not the player. I'm not a fan of I'm not saying Demetrius Knight's bad. It's not that he's not good or bad. It's that they didn't need linebacker, in my opinion. I thought that was the one position on defense that they didn't need. They needed secondary, and they needed pass rush or offensive line, and they went linebacker, who's a good off-ball linebacker, but that's just not – they didn't need him. Like,
I'm also not the huge Shamir Stewart fan either. I mean, yeah, dude got close. He got close a lot. He just didn't get home a lot. Right? So, I mean, like, it is what it is. Like, he had 1.5 sacks each of the last 2 seasons. All right.
That's tough.
That's your first-round pick? Yeah, he got a lot of pressures. It's good.
I can get.
It's good. You got a lot of pressures, but for a first-round draft pick at 17, I want somebody that's getting home.
See, I'm not terribly mad at the draft, like their class.
Plus, like, what is he? He's gonna be the number 1 pass rusher. Are they gonna re-sign Hendrickson?
That's the problem.
Because if not, he's got to be the guy. Because like right now he's the Hubbard replacement. If they re-sign Hendrickson, but if they don't, then he's by himself again. He's by himself in that D line trying to figure it out.
I am not mad though. Like, they got Fairchild out of Georgia. Georgia's offensive line. That's just what they do. They're good. Barrett Carter. If you want to go linebacker, you got your linebacker, Barrett Carter. Fine. He's not the best guy, but he's not bad. I just believe that Demetrius Knight should have been, maybe that's where you should have gone offensive line, and then you flip that number 3 spot with maybe like a corner or a safety. I just did not.
That defense is about to get fucking smoked.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of it.
They got even worse. They're about to get fucking smoked.
And I do want to say shout out to the Green Bay Packers too for drafting 2 Texas Longhorn on their team.
Shout out to the Packers
shout
for
out to you too, Alan.
drafting a wide receiver first overall and getting me my first points on the board. I really appreciate that.
Only points. Don't say for all.
Only points. Hey, that was the most unlikely out of all the points.
Yeah, it's just like, but they doubled down on receiver. They went Savion Williams and they went Matthew Golden. I guess they heard the running back. I think it was Josh Jacobs said they needed to play better at the receiving spot. Yeah, the guy 6'4", 222. I mean, Savon Williams was a dog at TCU, and Matthew Golden came up live at the second half of the season.
Basically, fucking tight end.
Yeah, and then Sorrell, by the way, did not know Sorrell was at the green room the whole time.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I was watching like the draft earlier today. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Every
like walking out,
because every person like that was posting stuff from after round 1 said that only Johnson and Milroe were the only ones in the green room still.
Yeah, apparently he was there all day too.
Good for him, man. Way to hang out, and he looked like he was having fun. So, just shout to them because they dropped 2 of my boys.
It's a long time to sit there. Not
gonna lie.
It happened to Shaquem Griffin from UCF a few years ago. I don't know why he got invited. Probably just because he had missing a hand. But he did the same thing. I think he's 5th round pick.
I will say that the Packers draft class I thought was good actually. Like, that's not to be biased with the 2 Texas guys. Anthony Belton's going to compete for offensive tackle, And like I said, Savion Williams, he's pretty good as well at TCU.
But we can't love everybody's draft. We can't say everybody's draft was
Oh, well,
good.
no.
A lot of people had good.
Bengals
there was a
had
lot
a
of
bad draft. 49ers had a bad draft.
The Jaguars to me was bad class. Outside Travis Hunter, which we didn't talk about, and White Millum. I like the guard out of West Virginia. The running back, I like Tootin, but I just don't get what the Jaguars are doing. You got Etienne, you got Tanks Bigby. What is going on? And then you draft a corner after you draft Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Does he not play corner and what? I mean, it's just. I'm good. You made a splash, and you maybe some think you lost the trade with how much you gave, but you made the splash. You got Travis Hunter. Why go draft a corner? That should have been tight end. That should have been Arroyo or Mason Taylor, somebody else, man. Interior on the defensive line, like I just don't get with I don't get what Liam Cohen's doing out there in that young GM that looks like he's 21 years of age.
Yeah, he's super.
I kind of feel like the Niners had the worst draft.
No, yeah, I wasn't a fan of theirs either.
I think their draft was probably the worst. I mean, you had Jalen Walker still on the board, and you picked Michael Williams. If for some reason you had Michael Williams over Jalen Walker, I don't understand. That's
Jake said that they were high on him all week. Like they were trying to trade up for him.
I just don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think Jalen Walker was definitely the better talent there.
Alfred Collins is pretty. It's not shit on him.
They went all defense with their
well,
1,
yeah,
2,
it was all
3,
defense.
4, 5 up until like
and,
6 picks.
Jordan James and Jordan Watkins, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. I don't know. Man, what were you doing? And then you draft Brock Purdy's replacement in Curtis Rourke out of Indiana.
He had a good year.
Hey, he's his replacement. You know, they specialize in late round draft picks.
He took Indiana to playoffs.
He did.
I don't know.
He did take Indiana to the playoffs.
Yeah. So Frank Martin said, "Skull Vikings, everything we wanted as a fan." So Skull, I don't know, man. Like, well, the Vikings got Sam Howell. That was part of the. I'm not a fan of the Vikings draft class, man. Like,
no, me neither. Me neither.
Donovan Jackson. I mean, you did sign the guy from the Colts this year, so Donovan Jackson's playing the other guard spot. But like, you go receiver Ty Felton. Okay, so is he going to replace Jalen Naylor? I mean, I just don't get that. And then, like I said, you got Sam Howell as a backup. You traded one of your picks for Sam Howell, so it's like
they also didn't have a lot of picks either. You know.
Yeah,
so you really had to hit off of them when you did get them, and they just didn't. I don't feel like they made any splashes.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them. Another team that if we're talking teams we didn't really like, I don't know how I feel. I mean, outside of Harmon and Caleb Johnson for the Steelers, I don't know how I feel about Jack Sawyer because like he's one of those guys that was kind of like he makes plays at Ohio State, but was he making those plays because he's a product of Ohio State? Now, maybe Mike Tomlin and Steel City, maybe they get the best out of him. But you have Will Howard, Black. I don't know much about him, to be honest. And then can Will Howard start? If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, I mean, was that a bad pick? Or
it's been a while since the Steelers have hit on a draft too. It's been part of the reason they've been kind of like average like the past like few years. They haven't hit on a draft in a while. Like they used to back in the day. When they pull out fucking AB out of like the 5th or 6th round, like players like that. But it's been the drafts have been flat for like the past like 4 or 5 years.
And that's exactly where they have been over the last 4 or 5.
I like Caleb Johnson.
They've been flat. They've been
that running back. Like, he scares me a little bit because that dude's a stud. But like Derek Harmon, yeah, he's with a Cam Hayward replacement. They're probably playing both together. But other than that, like Jack Sawyer, yeah. He made his name off that one play against Texas where he got the super score.
And it was a great play. I'll give him to another class.
Great play, but I think more Ewers' fault than anybody else.
Yeah, it was bad. I think it was bad play design, and it was bad decision by Ewers.
Yeah,
everything
more Ewers' fault, and like Ewers probably didn't see him there.
I think Sark and Ewers, the play call was terrible, and then the execution was definitely terrible. Another team. I don't know if Allen's gonna be back or not, but the Indianapolis Colts. I like Tyler Warren, but man, it's just like, what are we doing, man? Like, I don't get what the Colts are doing.
Yeah, I mean, they're full on QB competition right now, too.
I mean, you get Riley Leonard, that's late, that's fine, but okay, you get JT. How many pass rushers are you guys going to keep hitting on? Like, I mean, are you guys going to keep drafting pass rushers like the corner? I mean, you did make some investments in the offseason, so I don't know. I just don't get what they're doing. And then you have DJ Giddens. Running back's not solid. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, so
I like Giddens. Giddens is pretty good.
I do too. It's just I just
Well,
don't know.
him with what Taylor? It's not bad.
But I don't know. I said it's
Riley Leonard. Maybe he's going to be a starter. We'll see.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he won the job.
And by the way, guys, Jake's already pissed. Mustafa, safety from the Niners, already is out for the year. It looks like. Apparently, Jake said he tore his ACL at the end of the season last year, but don't know. But I was going to sign off, but I don't want to be rude and leave Alan. You know, he's back here behind the curtain. Maybe he's moving at the moment. But Luke, man, what an interesting weekend, man. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was good weekend for me. So I mean, I liked our draft, so I'm good with it. I mean, not all guys are gonna make the team, most likely. Hopefully, keep on the practice squad or some depth pieces.
Yeah, but no, man. Yeah, it was a good weekend. We had fun Thursday night. You know, it was always good doing this, Luke. We're gonna be back here. Well, I know you're not going to give a shit about it, but basketball time, so playoff time. So Alan and Jake will be in here with us. We will have to start. We did get requests to do some dynasty, like positions for like the rookies, so like the quarterbacks, the tight ends, the receivers, the running backs. So
have they uploaded them yet?
No, I mean I think that they've already had the names in there, but now that we know where they're at, they'll probably update that and everything. So we'll start that, and then we'll start doing our division breakdowns. Like those are pretty fun too. Little hour episodes for each division, eight of them. Yeah, 4 in each conference. So there's a lot to come up: basketball, baseball, and still football. Man, you know it's not like we don't have anything to talk about. So like I said, Alan and myself and Jake will probably start doing basketball. Me and Jake will try and get baseball back going, and then like I said, dynasty rankings for positions and positions or division breakdowns, and then we'll have the schedule releases May 14th. We'll probably do a night on that. Probably do a May 14th episode. It's so much coming up, man. I can't wait for it.
I'll be here for most of that. I haven't gotten my dates yet for my training yet, so I don't necessarily know when I'm going to be moving from that. It's just supposed to be 30 days from the end of my leave. My leave is scheduled until the 22nd of May, so we'll see what happens there. But I should be here through the end of the basketball season and some of this NBA, NFL offseason. So I should be here for majority of that. I'm pretty excited for that.
And hopefully we make some more viral videos, Luke and Alan. Hopefully we get some more going. So, we'll see what happens. Maybe that Chiefs being third place, maybe that one takes off. At least be called an idiot. I know that now. Probably get called a dumbass from a lot of people. But hey, you gotta be bold once in a while.
Hey, jobless fucking dude over here.
Yeah, I'm jobless. Jake's bald. Yeah, we're all jobless. Jake's bald, and we have no talent. We don't understand sports. But hey, 143 teams, but every team passed on Shedeur Sanders 143 different times he got passed on. So, but we're the idiots. Even though we all had him first round, we're all idiots.
I had him in top 10.
I had him at number.
I had him top 10. I had number 9.
I am top 10. Doc had him top 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
but we're idiots.
Hey,
it is what it is.
I guess we are idiots, actually.
No, everyone's an idiot. They said, like, someone said, like, hey, the podcast stuff. I was like, well, why don't you go tell everyone on TV that they should get rid of their cameras and get rid of their microphones? Well, and tell them that they can't.
Somebody go after Mayock because he had him as the number 1 rated quarterback.
Like I said, everybody that I saw on TV had him in the top 20. So I really don't. I really don't, give credit to that. At the end of the day, you take what these people say, you take what the scouts say, you take what the team say, and we never really actually know what's going to happen until you get to the fucking day. And we got to the day, and he got pushed back 2 days. Nobody
happens every year to
pushed
one
back
player.
2 days.
Yeah. Happens every year. It's going to happen to somebody.
What happened to Quinn Ewers though? I mean, I thought he was supposed to be
7th round quarterback. Watch out, Tua. Watch out, Tua. Your job.
No. Hey, Quinn Ewers is QB3.
No,
he's sitting behind the MILF Hunter.
He'll beat up the MILF Hunter. He's got better college experience. He's gonna beat him out.
He's fragile.
Zach
He's
Zach
fragile.
Wilson.
That's
Zach
they got
Wilson's
they got Tua and Ewers over there, the most fragile quarterbacks in the NFL now.
Practice squad. He's going to be
No.
playing. You know,
He's an emergency.
if anybody
quarterback.
ever needs somebody to emulate what Colt
You-
McCoy does, then he'll be on their
Watch
practice
out.
squad.
What happened? What happened to Ewers? Because they took
honestly don't know.
The Raiders took 2 quarterbacks
And 3 picks. 2 out of
and
3.
3
like-
picks over him of 2 guys I've never fucking heard.
Well,
of.
by the way, that
One's gonna
first,
be a receiver.
Well,
One's
yeah,
gonna be a
okay.
receiver.
I saw that. I was like, man, they listed him as a quarterback, but then everyone
Graham Mertz
says,
got hurt like week 4 or 5. Didn't play the rest of the season.
and he's not even that good.
Yeah. Well, some people say differently, but Graham Mertz got picked over Ewers.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I always said he's not. To me, he's not an NFL starting quarterback. I said it. He's not an NFL starting quarterback. I've never said he's going to be a baller in the NFL.
I figured he'd be a solid backup, but
and maybe he will be. Well, but 7th round, hey, he got drafted.
So
You can
just
draft
real quick. Who is coming out of this next draft class that's going to be like a super great player
Are we talking quarterback or just player in general?
and player in general?
Well, I haven't even looked at the class, but I know some of the quarterbacks that are
Nussmeier's be QB1, I think.
Drew Aller's potential to QB1 as well.
Yeah, it depends on what he does this season. He had flashes last year.
Cade
I
Klubnik
think-
is up. Cade Klubnik's up there too.
Yeah, Klubnik.
Yeah.
I think Nussmeier's gonna be the guy. I think LSU unfortunately takes a big step forward this year. I think they have to, or BK's gonna get fired.
Sellers could be another one too, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen people kind of starting to fall off the Sellers train.
So who's
A little
the next big quarterback coming out? Because I'm trying to get to Archie Manning and do we
Arch,
think that?
No.
Arch, I don't think Arch is coming out.
yeah,
No, not this year. I'm just saying in the
He'll
next
be-
couple of years, who is that top tier?
All right, well,
quarterback
here,
coming out?
well, I mean, I have some
He's
names
7.
that are not quarterbacks, but
Jeremiah Smith.
no, Jeremiah Smith can't. Well, he can't come out till 2027's class.
Yeah, he said next few years.
Caleb Downs.
I did say next couple of years.
Caleb Downs is a safety from Ohio State. He is Allen. He's a dog.
He's a dog. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
he's a freak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was from Alabama, right?
yeah. He transferred to Alabama when Saban left.
So you think we got at least 2 more years of Arch Manning?
I do believe
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah. So according to CBS Sports, right? So this is just a mock draft that they did. They have.
Archman hasn't started full
They
season.
ain't
yet.
gonna have, but you have Nussmeier, Drew Aller, you have a tackle from Oregon. I don't think Carson Beck. I'm not even gonna read that name. We have a D tackle from Clemson, Caleb Downs. You have an Auburn pass rusher, a Notre Dame wide receiver, which that's very rare. Anthony Hill is a Texas linebacker. He's actually really good, but his range.
Running back from Notre Dame, is he coming back?
Oh yeah.
next year?
You'll have both
Oh.
Northern. Yeah, both Notre Dame running backs and both Penn
Is it
State running
Love?
backs.
Love,
Yeah,
right?
you have Love and another one, and then you have both Penn
Yeah,
State.
Loves this fucking dude. He's
I
stud.
haven't. Yeah, you have Jeremiah Love. He's 14th right now. So next year's class, it's unknown. It's just right now. It's a lot of D tackles, pass rushers, offensive line.
Yeah, when you look at like for this year, if you look the season before the season started, the first round looked completely different. So I mean, it's hard to tell.
Is it weird to say that once again? I'm not a fan of this quarterback class next year. It's Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck, Drew Aller, and Garrett Nussmeier. I'm not a Drew Aller fan. I'm not.
I'm not on the Drew Aller train yet either.
And Cade's a weird guy. He's weird.
Cade, I haven't watched enough of him.
He played better last year, but if he
Yeah.
does that again, I might be back on his bandwagon.
I'll be locked in week 1, Club Nick Nussmeier matchup. I'll be locked in. The battle for
Yeah,
Death Valley.
and the Tigers. Both of them were Tigers.
Yep. LSU's copycat school, right?
Yeah, I don't know about Tigers, but they're different. They're different colored Tigers. One's purple and
Oh,
yellow. One's
yeah.
orange and purple.
Clemson had Death Valley first,
Oh yeah.
and you know the song "Neck." You heard that one?
Yeah,
She does. Yeah, they stole that from HBCU. So that's cool.
it's
So
cool.
they're just copycat school. That's all they are. They think something's cool at another school. They do it at theirs.
If Arch balls out though, Allen, he does choose to go. Yeah, that's going to be a hot name. I just don't think he comes out. I think he's going to be in the 2027 class. Sellers from South Carolina is a big name too. He's got a lot of potential. Everyone's high on him
Dual
this
threat
year.
guy.
Yeah,
He had a good season last year. I think he should. They should have won more games. They should have beat LSU. LSU got lucky. They got bailed out by the refs, I think, on that game.
He's a sleeper
They did.
Heisman. Sleeper
Because
Heisman.
Nuss threw a pick 6 and they called it back on him.
Yeah, because he
Well, for a bullshit blindside block. But
Yeah,
they should have been. They were a verge of a playoff team.
Anthony Hill, though, I will say, Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas, he's a dog too. But we've been producing a lot of defensive players the last couple of years. That's kind of
kids. You guys get the fucking top recruiting class every fucking year. What do you mean?
oh, and we get transfers too. Like it's like Texas just picked up 4 or 5 defensive tackles in the transfer portal all spring. I was like, God damn, like what do we? I mean,
Sorry,
hey, we need it.
You picked to be a fan of the fucking school with the most fucking money.
Yeah,
What do we expect?
I mean, we've been trashed.
You know,
we were trashed for like a
go-
decade. So
go
they were
tough
trash for
times.
a decade, so now they got.
hey,
some
whoa.
money.
I don't say I haven't been through tough times. That decade after McCoy was actually pretty bad.
Oh, well, it's not like you guys didn't have the money or the brand or anything. You just
Well,
got
back then, there's no NIL. It's just hopefully
you
you
still have
come
the brand.
for the name. Oh yeah, hopefully you come
It's
for the
playing.
name.
Yeah. Well, Texas is the
Hey,
premier school in the
When
state.
the brand's sucking though, your recruits aren't going to be as the ones you wanted to. Ask the
it's not.
Gators. The Gators drop off after Tebow was nuts.
Yeah,
They went
well,
through 2 championships and then all of a sudden just fell.
I think Florida and Florida State are closer than not anymore. Texas and Texas A&M,
What do you mean?
in separation.
Like distance wise?
No, I mean
Talent-wise?
Yeah.
Well,
Texas
A&M
A&M
recruiting classes have been really great the last 5-6 years. It's
Yeah,
not
well,
like they just suck together.
They just suck.
Yeah. But anyways, guys,
they have a lot of money there, so
they do.
It's oil money.
Texas has oil money. But guys, fun episode tonight. Great weekend. It was great. A lot of participation in Discord. That was always fun. And shout out to everyone that got drafted, all 257 of you guys. Hopefully you all have good careers.
Dreams come true.
All 257 of you, your dream came true. Even the undrafted free agents, your dream came true. You're in the NFL. Now
It didn't happen for me.
it will never happen for me. So
It didn't happen.
maybe
you might have a spot on ESPN though, Luke. All right, you were calling some good calls. So
Luke, me and you were pretty accurate. You had the most picks. I had the most points.
So we were getting there.
Yeah,
I've heard they got spots opening up here soon.
budget cuts.
Yeah, it's not what it is.
Yeah, budget cuts. But anyways, great episode, guys. We'll be back here hopefully in a couple days when we have baseball, basketball talk, more NFL talk. Alan, Luke, always good to have you in here. Shout out to the rest of the boys. Shout out to everyone that was here or during the last couple days with all the views, everything that we did. I'm Mark Davis, Luke Rule, Alan Tomasello. This is All About the Balls podcast, and have a great night.